Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. You are tuned in to Hanging with the Hayters. I am Mark Hayter, and sitting across from me here is my lovely and talented wife, Kay. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome, Kay. Well, a round of applause.
We're so glad you tuned in. So.
That woman gave me.
Stop it.
You know, Kay, I was thinking concerning that woman is that we have been, in the last week or so, pretty much home confined due to the weather.
Yes, we have. We haven't been getting out much.
We haven't. And, you know, Kay, you watched that show about the tiny homes sometimes. Mm-hmm. And to me, they look so cute, and I think about them. But, you know, if we had been living last week in a tiny home, I think we would have probably had marital discord.
Yeah, we would have been consulting lawyers.
It would have been tough. But, see, we live in a place where Kay can go into her study. And, you know, there's only two of us, and, man, I can get away from her pretty easy. And I don't need to most of the time, but sometimes.
He's got his study. I got mine.
I
got my computer. He has his. I have my TV. He has his. We're cool. We're set.
Okay, you know, I don't know what people do who marry someone who's just like them. You know, they like the same piece of meat on their chickens and all, fried chicken.
Yeah, it's better if one likes dark meat, the other likes white meat. I mean, that works out beautifully. Of course, that's not the case with us, but
yeah, it's our really together time is a lot of time when we're either reading the paper of the morning or watching the news or something. Kay has her different shows she likes, and I have
do,
some.
Yeah. Mark doesn't really care about house hunting, refurbishing, cooking.
Oh man. I don't. I like to see the after shots, but not so much the first.
He watches whodunits. It's the, solving,
really?
Like Paula Zahn.
I like it. Yeah, those things.
And I watch
Datelines.
those occasionally. Yeah.
Kate, today, I don't know if you've noticed, but we have a. I hate to use this word because it came back to bite me once. It's a plethora. We're having a plethora of interesting information, I think. It's a lot like some of my articles in the fact that I've been accused of writing all over the place. I start in one area, and then all of a sudden I shift. I try to come up with a transition, Kay. But our show, the way I like to do it is, you come up with one theme. That's pretty cool. But, if you don't like the theme, I'm not going to listen to it very much. But we have so many different things that I'm interested in, that you're interested in, that we can go off on. One has to do with a comment I made today, and it was the fact that, ladies and gentlemen, if you are anywhere in the area, Montgomery County, or wherever you are, I don't care if it's
Harris County. Yeah,
Harris County, wherever. If you're thinking of moving to a new area, this is a beautiful time, area in the vicinity, to go and check out the neighborhood or whatever. If it's underwater,
that's true.
You might think about that.
If you see carpet out by the curb, not a good sign.
And what is so sad about that is those people who do own those homes, and people have been flooded back in, you mentioned Memorial Day.
Memorial Day, yeah.
Change their carpet, their furniture, their cabinets, and all of a sudden, son of a gun, it hits again.
Here it is again.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I can't imagine.
Cannot
imagine.
Yeah.
We are blessed.
We are that. We're now, after saying that, obviously anything could happen, but so far it has been high and dry. We have some puddling things, but not what I've seen on TV.
Yeah.
It's
but,
very sad.
You're right. There's not to say it couldn't happen at some point under the right circumstances.
And you know something, Kay? I think there's a big a possibility, because I was seeing in the newspaper last week a map about how many places, subdivisions and all, are going to be built in the Montgomery County area, and my thought is, how are they with respect to flooding propensity?
I know there's, if you're going to have this many acres developed, you've got to have a certain size retention pond and all that kind of stuff. I don't know about that stuff, but I do know there's around 9 new subdivisions that are coming in at some point. Some of them are in the beginning. I counted. It was a little thing I think that the Chamber of Commerce put out. Looks like there's going to be over 1,200 new home lots being developed. Lots for homes. And the Howard Hughes Corp just bought 2,000 acres between FM 830 and 1097 on the west side of I-45. And there it's going to have commercial property and housing, but they haven't come up with specifics yet. So, and that's on top of what I've just been talking about.
Did you run across any apartments being built? Because it seems they're being built everywhere.
Well, yeah. The information I was looking at didn't talk about apartments, but just driving around town, I know there's 2 large ones that I know they're going in just in the area that we kind of navigate regularly.
Yeah.
So,
Kay, in the Conroe area, you used to could tell when they were getting ready to build something because you would be passing a whole area, acres and acres of trees, pine trees for the most part, and all of a sudden you pass by one day and they're gone and you think, oh, something's going in there, but I don't know how many times they've cut it down and then they put a for sale sign up for, businesses, you want to
clear cut it and put a for sale sign up. Yeah, there's one piece of property on 105 West that I know they cleared that, had to be 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And it has never sold, and the trees that are coming back now are probably about, 15 feet tall.
Yeah.
Of course, it's the pines because they grow fast.
Right.
And
I realize in
hate that.
that there are 2 sides to every story, and people say, Mark, you're so naive, and I think you are so true about that. I mean, that's an honest statement. I realize in these subdivisions, the cheapest way to do it is to cut down the dadgum trees, put in all your sewage lines and your water lines coming in,
all
and
those
all
trees
this.
have got roots and
They
stuff.
do. They've got
get
roots. And if you don't do that, the houses are going to be more expensive because they had to spend more money to go around everything, the trees and all. But so here's a guy that's not in the construction business, and I'm happy with my home and all. So I look at that and I say, stop doing that. Stop cutting all those trees down, you people. Same thing happens, when they put in a Walmart or Kroger's.
Well, we just had a few trees taken down. Of course, they were
close
did. To the house and
okay, one thing
poor health.
We've discovered, I don't care if you cut a tree down or the limbs. If you're looking like you're in a jungle, you cut the limbs, they'll come back. In other words, wherever there is sun in your yard, if there is a tree, that is going to head towards the sun. They don't say, ooh, I'm going to stay here in the shade, because that's silly talk.
Yeah, they can grow sideways.
They're into photosynthesis.
If they're under the canopy. Yep. Yes, indeed.
Fascinating stuff, ladies and gentlemen. I can hardly believe it myself.
Are we done here?
And a lot of stuff going on. By the way, I wanted to make mention, speaking of interesting stuff, this was interesting to me. Not because I've got a tremendous, feeling opinion-wise about it, but I don't know if you saw the story out of Georgia. I can't remember the name of the town in Georgia, not George, where the child was given one swat. He was 5 years old, and he had been in trouble for a while. He'd missed school for 15 days, and his mother said, "Oh, he was sick," and I started to say, I'm sure he was. I don't know what he was. I don't know why she didn't, get a doctor's comment, but whatever. Anyway, and he came back and he hit a kid and then he spit on someone. I don't know whom. So they called the parent because that's the law. You call the parent and get permission to give a kid a swat in Georgia. And the mother said, okay. And they videoed it. Somebody did. And it might have been the mother for all I know. This kid, just hearing him scream and holler and beg and plead, it was kind of like the mafia had him and they were getting ready to cut off one of his fingers. But she was trying to get him to settle down so she could give him a swat on the rear end, and just one.
With a paddle.
With a paddle.
Yeah.
And I'm just an old fogey in the fact that when I was in school, that was a common thing among teachers, and always get a lot of teachers didn't give you swats, but the coaches did, for heaven's sake, and the principal would, and it was accepted. Nobody liked it, but this was like, it made a national news story. Here I am sitting home, and I say, oh, national news. You got the Middle East going, blowing up, and all this stuff happening back home, terrorism, and all. I've had enough about the election and all. But, and here's a child getting, they never show the child getting swatted. I think the video stopped before that. Did they ever,
I don't know if
he got swatted.
Oh, he did get a swat.
And afterwards.
Is he still alive?
He lived through it.
Okay.
And I think during the swat, he was spitting on people. I made that up, folks. I have no idea, but I do realize this. Afterwards, the mother said, well, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have let them do that to my child. And
she was there.
She must have been.
She was in the room.
Okay.
Yeah.
She wish she hadn't. And that would have been hard for me hearing my kid plead.
Well,
but, it sounded like a kid that and here's coming from, once again, ladies and gentlemen, a man who's childless, maybe needed a little more discipline before this time. I don't know.
We don't know. We don't have the whole story. We've heard this story, and that is all.
And you know how...
Now, if we were Paul Harvey,
we would
probably know the rest of the story.
The rest of the story.
We don't.
We don't, okay. And by the way, I don't... autism is around in ADD...
Attention deficit disorder.
Yeah, it's everywhere, and apparently we didn't have that back then. We were just mean because we were mean, or whatever reasons, or wild and crazy. I don't know, but now it's caused by something.
Well, there's a lot of stuff in the environment.
There is, and stuff that went on that wasn't like when we were young. We
ate real food.
We ate real food, and I remember we lived on the Ship Channel. In fact, I mentioned this in last week's articles, ladies and gentlemen, how we in Pasadena, living close to the Ship Channel, woke up one morning and our white walls were green. We had no air conditioning, so we had an attic fan that drew stuff in. And you see at night, the refineries back then, I know they don't do it anymore because they've got people inspecting every minute of the day. Anyway, and they just released some bad stuff, and we never did find out what they released. They said, it wasn't anything to worry about. Okay. And, state of Texas didn't care, nor did this was before pre-EPA came around, which, by the way, I believe the EPA started during Richard Nixon, if I'm not mistaken. Those people who are Republicans are saying, the stupid Democrats that made us worry about pollution. Well, I think it was Nixon. Could be wrong. Anyway, that was the big story, and I know you all have an opinion about that. And
when you were teaching school, you gave SWATs at the start, but you kind of gave up on that. But we're talking... teenagers here, not 5-year-olds.
I actually gave it to just one child, and he wasn't mean or anything, and it was a stupid reason. But when a teacher says we're going to do this, this kid kept forgetting his book. I know he had one; he'd bring it every once in a while, and I finally said, Joe, if you don't bring your book next time, I'm going to have to give you a SWAT. And I know, Mr. Hayter, I don't know what's wrong with me. I cannot remember. Okay. And he didn't bring it, and son of a gun.
Well, you said you were going to get
I said I was going to, and to me, it was almost, I imagine, laughable to the kid, because I could not hit a kid hard. It would just, I couldn't. It'd bring tears to my eyes. And that dadgum Joe said, it's okay, Mr. Hayter, go ahead. I thought, oh, crap. I'm sorry. And I did it, but it did no good.
That was your first and last SWAT that you gave?
At that moment, it's when he forgot his book the next time. I said, well, Mark, I don't think that's going to do any good. So
right. That didn't help. So.
It didn't. Anyway, but that was my sense of it. I don't know what you do with some kids, obviously, but... fortunately, I don't have that problem, or maybe unfortunately. Speaking of another weird thing, how many of you out there, and let's see a show of hands, remember the incident at a Burger King in California where they got a call from the fire department? They thought. The fire department calls. This guy says, oh, my gosh, we've just got a recording evidence that there is your natural gas is leaking all inside the store right now. You need to get everyone out, vacate the premises, and then I'm telling you, you need to break all the windows outside. We've got a unit on the way, but right now that is what we're recommending you do.
Disperse the gas.
Disperse the gas. And the manager was there, an intelligent, I guess, person, I'm sure. But, when someone of authority says that, and, you're not smelling any gas, but you're thinking, this guy sounds very serious. So they went out and broke the windows. I forget how much money, $9,000, something like that, or more, $20,000. I don't care. But they broke them all, and, the fire department never came or anything. And then the manager had to call the owner and said, I broke all your windows because I got it. Well, this had been going on before, and...
Turns out that wasn't the first one, huh?
The first one that I guess the person actually did what was told, to my knowledge, was to break the windows.
Okay.
And they did. And they say since then it has been going on a lot because, people mimic what they see a lot of times. And
well, word's out now, so people will be aware.
Here's what I'm thinking, Kay. I think
anybody calls us and tells us, I will not break the windows.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not trying to test anyone, but I think our windows would be kind of hard to break. They are
We got some sturdy windows.
We got sturdy windows, and that double layered stuff.
Should be. We paid enough for them.
Oh my gosh! I almost had to sell Kay to get those dadgum things paid for, and if they had offered $2,000 more, Kay, I still wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a fascinating story. Oh my word, Kay, we are. Yeah. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. We have got so much important stuff. One has to do with radioactive pigs in Japan that I'd like to share with you when we come back from this short break here on Hanging with the Hayters on IRLoneStar.com. Mark and Kay, back in a couple.
SPCA PetSnap of Montgomery County is a 501c3 all-volunteer-based rescue and adoption organization with a no-kill policy for healthy and adoptable animals. Our goals are fourfold: to rescue and rehabilitate homeless animals, to provide a safe haven for the animals until a suitable adoption or foster care home is found or until they are reunited with their owner, to educate the public about the great need to reduce pet population, which includes the importance of having their pets spayed and neutered, and to further the cause for humane and responsible pet ownership, and to provide a low-cost spay-neuter clinic for people who are unable to afford to spay or neuter their pets otherwise. SPCA PetSnap of Montgomery County encourages you to think adoption first. You can contact us at www.spcaofmc.com.
I'm Lieutenant Bob Berry with the Conroe Police Department, reminding you that texting and talking on the phone while driving are not only dangerous, but also illegal in school zones and other posted areas. Drive safely and alert.
And we're back. This is Kay Hayter. You're listening to Hanging with the Hayters. And Mark and I are just sitting here kind of yakking.
We're yakking, mostly Mark yakking. Okay.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah. And thank you for coming back after the announcements. I appreciate that. A lot of people just listen to the announcement and then I imagine they turn us off. I don't know that, Kay. I made that up.
Commercials,
commercials are crazy.
You don't come back.
And, of course, some of you are listening on our archives, SoundCloud out there.
And if that's the case, wow. Thank you.
We are so pleased. And that's serious. I didn't mean, hey, we're so pleased. But I gave a tease coming in about radioactive pigs. And I was reading this and, I don't know.
I think I saw that movie when we were kids.
No, okay. That was, what was that? It's where they go to Russia and they see Chernobyl and they see some pigs that are really, there are so many stories about radioactivity creating giant monsters like Godzilla and all. Or Rodan.
Was that what did that?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah,
I miss those. So.
Oh, and so many things it turns people into, well, of course, zombies. There's no question about that. A lot of zombies. But the problem is, are they fast zombies or slow zombies? Like in, what was it, World War Z or whatever. Those were the fastest zombies.
Oh, yeah, they were.
They were faster than ants.
Yeah, we couldn't outrun them.
Anyway, but in this case, it's not so much that there have been monsters, but they have been prolificating, Kay. And you know what happens when there's prolification. It's in Japan, and it's in the area where they had the massive tidal wave, Fukushima, I believe it was.
The nuclear power plant.
And the nuclear power plant was flooded. And the stuff I read, and by the way, this is fascinating. One thing Japan has just done is allocated some funds. It hasn't been happening yet. But on a massive plan, they are going to freeze water around and under wherever the leak is. There's right now water that is radioactive that is permeating through the soil, and so they are going to try to freeze it around where it is, put a gigantic frozen
it's
wall.
Right there by the ocean, so it's it's going into the sea.
They're going to try to freeze all of that area, and I don't mean by let's haul in some ice. I'm talking a massive
freezing
unit all around, you know, put pipes in and all and freeze them. And they say it's going to cost not hundreds of millions, but maybe a couple of $1 billion to do this.
Wow.
It's going to be expensive, but that's the only way they know to contain this. And, you know, one of the scary things about it, of course, is, you know, while they're working on it, it could happen again. You know, and then they've lost their investment.
Yeah.
That's one thing I want to make mention of. But what that also led to is there is, you know, still the area is radioactive. And there were some wild pigs, feral hogs out there like there are in the United States and Texas.
Yeah.
Just not quite as many. But what happened is there were no predators to stop their growth, so these pigs have been multiplying big time around the Fukushima area, and they are roaming into other areas, you know, where people are.
Outside the zone.
And they are radioactive. I mean, scientists have grabbed them and tested, oh my gosh. I don't. I'm not saying, whoa, we touched a pig, we're going to die or anything like that, but it's a sign of one of the problems that comes.
Well, you sure wouldn't want to eat, you know, kill and eat one.
No, don't eat one of those feral pigs.
You wouldn't want to make a pet out of one.
Yeah, that would be bad. Nor would I want to, you know, eat some of the fish in the area probably, even though I'm sure there's nothing wrong with it. And I didn't say that with much confidence. But that was one bad story out of Japan. They're concerned with wild radioactive pigs, and who knows? I mean, I'm not the man to tell you, but, okay, they could turn into some kind of monster pigs.
Yeah, you know, there's going to be a show on TV, maybe I've missed it already, I don't know, about the wildlife around Chernobyl, you know, 20-something years later.
Like that story isn't over yet.
Yeah, I'd like to see that if I can think to figure out when it is.
You know, okay, something else I just thought of. Do you know why, and this is, I guess, one of those rhetorical questions, I don't know what it is, but there are so many apocalyptic movies, I think.
I know. I don't usually care for them.
Well, yeah, that's
Everybody's
true.
Dirty. They need a bath. They need to shave.
Dirty. But one thing about it is the fact that there are so many areas in this world, a lot in Eastern Europe, and some in America, Detroit, all these areas that have places, be they run-down homes, ghettos, whatever, factories that have closed down that is just prime for sending a film crew in, and you can actually blow up some of these remnants of buildings and get it on tape and throw some zombies around or something. In other words, it's cheaper now to film such a thing. You add to that your computer-enhanced stuff. You got a lot of movies out there.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. By the way, this just in, somebody got a wind of that, and I had a breaking news story right here I'm just going to share with you, Kay. I did not know this, but Magnum P.I. was filmed and started in 1980 in Hawaii, and that was not their intention to film it in Hawaii. He's supposed to be a special detective,
didn't know that.
Instead they used Hawaii because Hawaii Five-0 had just run their last series. They didn't. They said this is the end, Hawaii Five-0, and there in Hawaii, they had a studio. They had all of these cameras, and they had the people living there that were with CBS at the time. And they said, I tell you what, let's just do this in Hawaii. We've already got everything set up.
I'm sure Tom Selleck was so upset.
He was upset. No, I'm sure he liked it. And by the way,
Hawaii, woohoo!
Higgins on, this is more of the breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know why it comes right now. Higgins, the guy who was the overseer of the whole place, the British guy, he's from Texas, and he said, I got so good with the British accent because I listened to so much Laurence Olivier, and I tried to mimic him. He did a very good job. A Texan.
He did. I thought he was British.
Playing a Brit. Wow. All of that had to do with radioactive pigs. I don't get it. Can I mention this one good thing out of Japan, Kay? I think
a good thing in Japan.
Yeah.
Okay,
and that is,
let's hear it.
Do you know the future? When I was teaching, I even mentioned this because I'd read something about it, and this was involved energy. And I said, you know, what's going to happen in this world is the advent of hydrogen cells. You're going to get hydrogen cells, you know, like batteries, but they got hydrogen in them, and you're going to put them in your house. There will be no electric lines running anywhere. It will be hydrogen running
your
everything. And cars will be run not by gasoline, but by hydrogen. And I'd read an article that sounded so promising. Well, you know what they're finding out since then is they haven't got the technique down yet because it uses more fossil fuels to create a hydrogen cell to produce the amount they want for a car or whatever.
It takes more energy to produce one than you're going to get from one.
And so that's kind of stupid.
Yeah.
Back to the Japanese. The Japanese have developed a technique whereby they use air, these solar, not solar, but
wind turbines?
Wind turbines.
He's twirling his hand around.
I am, folks. Can y'all see
folks,
that?
I can tell what he's trying to tell you.
Wind turbines to create the hydrogen cells. And if you can do that, you can use solar and other things. And they say we will have these things in time, and leave it to the Japanese to come up with a Prius and all that stuff.
Well, it better come within the next 20 years, or we won't see it.
Oh, we're not going to see it, Kay. Don't kid yourself. But anyway, speaking of that.
That is exciting, though.
It is exciting. I'm not going to belabor this point, but last week's article, I've been attempt to write funny things for the Courier and the Villager, my topics.
Articles?
I try to introduce humor into the articles, but last one was not that humorous because I had read something so interesting to me, and it was about space travel. And one part of it was this, and I'm not going to go into great detail, but I don't know if you're aware, but right now at the space station, the International Space Station, it is not the American,
right.
The only people right now who can deliver human beings up there are the Russians, and they're a little upset at us now.
And they're how we're getting home, too.
Yeah. But that's not the only way to put cargo up. There is, I don't know if you're aware, but a company out of California with Tesla is one of the owners, and another co-owner is somebody else.
Yeah, Musk. Yeah. Is it Elon Musk?
It is, Kay. Son of God.
Yeah.
He has created.
After I buy my Tesla, I'll let him
you
shoot
do
me
that.
into space.
They're using. They've created a private space flight thing where they are delivering things to the space station. And late last week, they delivered a giant package that contained an inflatable habitat that they are going to stick on the side of the space station, not as part of NASA. NASA didn't do it. NASA didn't deliver it. But this company has paid to do it, and the company is Boeing and somebody else. In other words, they're the ones that always get the federal money to
the contracts.
Yeah, the contractors build jets and stuff like that. What they did is they created a habitat that is a prototype of a giant mall or whatever they're going to put up, giant factories, and they put it on the
they're
space,
testing
and
it
they're
out.
going to inflate it and hook it to that thing. And all of the shows we see about mining things in space, I don't know if you've been watching some of these, but I have. And I'm making a sign of the universe, folks. I don't know if you can see it. But they put all of this stuff out there, and it's always giant spaceships made of metal and But the future looks like it's going to be all inflatable. It's going to have a skin on it, not real thick, but it's going to be Kevlar-like.
Oh, that's good.
It can take a bullet. It supposedly could take some asteroids. I don't know if that's. I mean, small ones.
There's all kinds of little debris out there.
There's pipe wrenches and all kinds of stuff floating around in space. Yeah. But they're going to build that, and they're going to have a floor in it, and then eventually they say they're going to have factories in space. And by the year 2020, they say, folks, that's 4 years down the road. They are going to have some habitable areas out in space, not hooked to the space station, but are actually going around in orbit. Not real high orbit, a little over 200 miles. Fascinating stuff, ladies and gentlemen, right here on Hanging with the Hayters. I cannot believe it. And I'd like to say, wow, that's all the fascinating stuff.
Start saving your money if you want to go on a trip to outer space.
Oh, man, no kidding. But it's not. Okay, we have got...
Eventually there'll be hotels and stuff.
Oh, that's one of the things they're making. Would you like to be the bellboy at the so-and-so in space? I don't think so. Anyway, we're going to come back with some easy home remedies, not the hard ones, but the easy ones for you, ladies and gentlemen, here on Hanging with the Hayters. But right now, we need to find out a little bit about the weather and the traffic here on irlonestar.com. Mark Hayter and Kay on Hanging with the Hayters. Take it away, Dick!
Tune in to Chamber Chat with your host, Courtney Galley and Samantha Good, with the Conroe, Lake Conroe Chamber of Commerce, every first Tuesday of the month at 11 a.m. I'm one of your hosts, Courtney Galley. Samantha and I will chat about the Conroe Chamber's upcoming events and programs for the month. Relax with a cup of joe or your favorite drink for Chamber Chat.
You're listening to Lone Star Community Radio on our LoneStar.com and soon to be Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1. This is the bottom of the hour traffic report. It is 12:30. You're listening to Hanging with the Hayters. Let's get on with the weather. We're going to expect major thunderstorms and showers coming all the way through Thursday night, so please be careful while traveling and especially in your home. Today, we expect showers after 1 p.m. The high is going to be 79 and the low is going to be 65. The only good news from all this is we're going to have low winds. That's right, 5 to 10 miles an hour, which is somewhat normal for this area. Traffic conditions in the Montgomery County area, northbound, southbound I-45 look good to go. The only accident I'm seeing is over towards Cut and Shoot, heading westbound on 105 right there before FM 1484 Road. So if you're heading westbound on 105, there's an accident being reported right there around the 1484 Road. You are listening to Lone Star Community Radio on our LoneStar.com. We'll be back with Hanging with the Hayters soon after these messages.
Are you interested in learning more about preparing quick, healthy, and safe meals for your family? Would you like to spend time with others learning tips and tricks, along with practicing and tasting nutritious food? If so, the On the Road to Healthy Living Mobile Cooking School is for you. Call Amy Ressler at Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service at 936-539-7825 to find a class near you or volunteer to host a class.
Heaven's Army of Resources and Recreation Center is a 501c3 nonprofit organization featuring a 10,000 square foot building located at 19325 FM 1485 West, New Caney, Texas. At Heaven's Army, we offer over 26 different services free for all ages, from karate, dance, drug and alcohol classes, anger management, parenting, food and clothing pantries, to just name a few. We are supported solely by volunteers and private donations. Our main mission is to glorify God in all that we do. At Heaven's Army, we strive to be a hand up, not a handout. Come check us out at 19325 FM 1485 West, New Caney, Texas, or call for more information at 281-689-5864. You may also learn more about Heaven's Army by visiting our website at heavensarmyofresources.com.
Welcome back to Hanging with the Hayters. We've been talking about just a whole plethora of things this morning.
Okay, use the plethora word.
I did.
What's that? Oh, I'm sorry. That laugh on Simpsons.
Hey, babe, do you know what this coming Thursday is?
You mean tomorrow?
Yeah, that would be like tomorrow.
Wow. Kay, I do. That's kind of a lead-in.
Yeah, it is.
I did not know until recently, about it being the anniversary of the Battle of San Jacinto, battle that didn't last very long, but was considered to be, and I'm not making this up, on a list that many historians have placed as one of the top 10 most important battles in the history of the world, with respect to its outcome and its lack of feasibility that it would have happened. And that's taking place tomorrow, and at the end of the battle, it's one of those few things, situations where when the battle was over, Santa Anna signed a truce. The battle ultimately said, we've got our independence now. He surrendered, and it was an unconditional thing. So, and we were going to let him go anyway. We wouldn't have killed him one way or the other, but I don't think he had fear for his life at the time. I don't know that, but he did. Anyway, so what's happening in Conroe down here at the park they built? Dick may know the name of it.
The Flag Park?
The Flag Park. Yeah, that's probably the name of it.
It's by the main library.
Library, right off of 45, there close to 105. Anyway, they're going to have a flag raising, Kay. Flag raising.
Babe, enunciate.
I need to enunciate. And they've got 13 flags. I've always heard there's 6 flags over Texas, but they've got 13 of them, some of which are the battle flags here and there that they're on, and some are the earlier flags that people weren't aware that we had, I guess. But they're going to raise those, and there's going to be elementary school choir there. I've got it written down somewhere of what they're going to sing, but it's going to be so nice. It's at 6 o'clock tomorrow, weather permitting, and Marita Kilgore's there. She's the person responsible for getting all of the things ready. Anyway,
arranged.
She's going to do a small performance, and she's a very talented person. And then they've asked me to read a poem that was written by our own, not only Montgomery County, but a person who is Texas's poet laureate from 2011. He wrote a poem about, ultimately, at the end, it's the Battle of San Jacinto, but it's pretty much the fight for Texas independence. And I'm supposed to read it, and not because of any significance of mine, but I think, like she said, she was hard up. She couldn't find any famous person to read it, so she asked me to. And it's one of those poems, folks, that doesn't rhyme. And it took me a lot of reading to see the poetry in it. In fact, I meant to Google and find out how you can discern whether a poem is a poem if it doesn't rhyme. But this has some great words.
Lines.
It's great lines. Thank you, Kate. And it is beautiful. And I'll probably, my goal is not to butcher it.
That sounds like a very nice ceremony.
It is. And they do have some famous people in the county raising the flags and all.
Cool.
And it is
very
nice.
nice.
6 o'clock, and it's not going to last that long.
I'll be there.
Kay will be there. Bless her heart. And speaking of blessing hearts, has very little to do with this next topic. I ran across something, Kay, in all of my studies. You know how much it's unbelievable. And it was home remedies. And, of course, you've all heard so much about home remedies, and I would share some of those with you. But these are simple home remedies. You want to know how simple they are. One for a cough, like here, it doesn't get much simpler than this, and it actually sounds biblical almost. This person who wrote this, and I'm looking for a name, said, if you have a cough, the simple thing to do is to get a mixture of milk and honey and drink it, obviously, as opposed to, placing it in your hair. But drink it, and it's supposed to, of course, smooth the tickle in your throat and, ease the cough. Now, if you're sick as not Job's turkey, because Job's turkey's poor, Kay. He's not sick. He's poor. As poor as Job's turkey. I don't think that would help me much, but it might taste good. Have you ever had milk and honey?
No, but my mother would dose us with honey, lemon, and a little bit of whiskey. Now, my mother is deceased,
toddy.
y'all, so don't come looking for her for giving alcohol to a minor.
Yeah.
But,
and she did not drink. The whole family didn't drink.
We were teetotalers, but there was sometimes Dad would get a bottle of whiskey at Christmas time for a corporate gift, and it was like, oh, great. But
Uncle Ray worked on the docks. He didn't work on the docks. He was a
supervisor on the Port of Houston.
Yeah. And anyway, they would, mostly Russians would all come and award him, give him.
Yeah.
Wow.
But over the years, they quit doing that, and Dad would come home with a turkey sometimes, which was, for us,
that
much
would be
better.
Better.
So.
But anyway, and so she used some of his.
Turkey could be probably good a home remedy
for something.
If you're got insomnia.
Yes, that's it. That's exactly, it's supposed to put you to sleep. Anyway, another thing, headache relief. I want you to listen to this, folks. I had no idea this would be so easy. The many headaches I've had, and I've never tried it. And all you do, Kay, it involves peppermint. Now, you can suck on peppermint, and I don't know what that's going to do to you, but, we've even got some of this peppermint oil, essential oil, and they say, according to whoever wrote this, you put a 10 to 15 drops. I don't know who figured this out, how many drops, what about, what about 6? Oh, no. What about 20? Nah, that's too many. Anyway, you put that many drops into 1 tablespoon of, you add 1 tablespoon of olive oil to it, and what you do is you mix the two together, and then listen to this. You think you're going to take it.
You're not. Headache?
Okay. It is. You take it, you mix it together, and then you rub that into your temple of your head. And for whatever reason, that oil, the peppermint oil, is what does it. The olive oil is an applicant.
Okay.
It's supposed to make your headache, your neck relax, and kill some headaches. Kay, I got to tell you, That is not happening for me. That would not kill some of my headaches.
Well, I got all the stuff, so we
She
should try
does. I may have to. Folks out there, some of you try it. I haven't had one of my great migraine headaches in a long time.
Well, why don't we tell them about a simple home remedy that we've been using for a long time that appears to work for us?
Let's hear it.
Well, we both used to have leg cramps. Mark, more so than
Nobody's
me.
going to believe this, Kay. I've said
I
it
know,
before.
this is like the stupidest thing.
Yeah.
But we're not punking you. For us, it works.
no.
I'm not guaranteeing it's going to work for everybody.
Makes no sense, Kay.
But I had read about putting a bar of soap in the bed underneath the bottom sheet and kind of put it, I guess, in the leg area if you have leg cramps. Anyway, I thought that's the stupidest thing I ever heard. Then there was a lady at school that told me she was doing it and it worked. And again, I went, these people are crazy. It's a placebo effect. Well, then finally, our good friend Virginia, if you're listening, forgive me. But Virginia told us she was trying it and it worked. And her thing was, try it. What's it going to hurt? Do you have a bar of soap at your house? Well, yeah. Well, then try it. What's it going to hurt? So we did. And there are no leg cramps happening. Have you had a leg cramp lately, kid?
No. I got to say this. I've had it after we've had a bar in there way long. And, after several months, I think they lose its cramp ability, non-cramp ability.
I don't know if they need shaved, the outer or a new bar. But, you can just switch it out.
Let me say this about that. I was having cramps in my legs up to the time. And, if you've had the leg cramps and, when you get your foot kind of wrapped up in the sheet and you're trying to get out of bed, because if you stand on your foot.
It woke me up I don't know how many times.
Oh, my gosh, you're dying. And Kay suggested this, and I was poo-pooing the daylights out of it. This is stupid, Kay. This is not going to work. And so I wasn't a person anticipating anything. I'm not a...
Right, we were like...
It wasn't like, oh, my gosh, I'm looking for it's a magic from heaven.
Now, we've recommended it to people, and I've kind of quit asking them later, did you try the soap in the bed? Because most of the time they say no. So we're the weirdos.
Yeah, they give... Well, and that's true.
And we are.
It is.
Yeah.
By the way, with respect to that, it can be... What we found is any soap. Right now we're using Irish Spring, but we can use that soap at the dollar store, the big bar that I really like.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it.
Ivory soap works, isn't it?
It's a lemon and something scent.
Smells
so good.
After a couple of months or so, you might get it out, and you could either run an emery board or something over it to get it back to the soapness of it, or just use the soap to bathe with after that and get a new bar.
Yeah,
and
put a fresh bar in the bed.
They're bailing.
Put the old bar in the shower.
They're bailing on us like
I'm
you would
you,
not
that
believe.
We have lost it.
Yeah. Okay, let me read this last one for you, ladies and gentlemen. And they've got one here about constipation, stopping constipation. That is a joke. This one's about nausea. Listen to this. I've been nauseated to the point where, give me a gun. They say, first, sit in front of a fan. Wow, never thought. You're in a car, you got a headache. Yeah, put the air on or something.
Yeah.
I don't know why that works. But second, you take lemon or lime, and you put it in some warm water, and you drink it. And that is supposed to relieve your nausea for whatever reason. Or just the breathing, the smell. Forget about the drinking of it, because I was thinking of that it happens to be the constipation thing. What you do is you take the citrus fruit, preferably lemon and lime, you slice it, and you breathe in the fresh smell. Then you place part of the slice into your mouth, and you're supposed to quit being nauseated. I don't know.
I'm sure the next time I'm nauseated, we will not be able to find this information.
Yeah, no way. By the way, folks, we are down to our last break, and we're going to take it. And when we come back, we are going to have a joke for kids and one for adults, and then we're going to have a story, ladies and gentlemen, about an Aztec emperor. Back in a couple of minutes, hanging with Hayters.
Doing business since 1985, Assistance League of Montgomery County is a nonprofit, all-volunteer organization where all proceeds stay in Montgomery County. We are proud to sponsor 10 philanthropic programs that enhance the lives of those in our community. Visit our thrift shop at 126 North San Jacinto Street in downtown Conroe, or call us at 936-760-1151. Don't forget to like us on Facebook.
If you are looking to start a career, you can start your professional life in the U.S. Army. I am Staff Sergeant Stephen Jackson. My fellow soldiers and I can talk with you about learning high-tech skills in electronics and computers as a soldier. Interested in the medical field? The Army has skilled medical and dental jobs that set you up for future success. Come visit us at 2109 West Davis Street, directly behind the Whataburger on Highway 105. Or give us a call at 936-756-7002.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Hanging with the Hayters. This is Mark Hayter. Once again, my lovely wife, Kay, is sitting there, and it's joke time at this very moment. And I mentioned to you we're going to have a joke for the kids out there. So kids, gather around a children's joke.
How nice, sweetheart.
And if they don't laugh their little whatever kids have on them, I'll be shocked. The joke goes like this. What kind of socks, Kay, do bears wear?
I don't know.
Okay, bears don't wear socks. They have bare feet. Isn't that a hoot?
That's a great kid's joke.
That is
they
a great,
like
bare
that.
feet because they don't wear the socks. Okay, here's the adult joke. And by the way, this is an adult joke, and it's not terribly off color, but there's no swear words, and the kids won't know anyway. But here is...
Put your hands over their ears.
Yeah, it happened in a senior complex, a home for senior citizens together, and there was this giant complex that was constructed. And the first day that everyone moved in, the manager addressed all of the seniors who were there, and he wanted to explain the rules to them. So they're all gathered in this the auditorium, and he says this: female sleeping quarters will be out of bounds for all males, and the male dormitories will be out of bounds for the females. And he said, anybody caught breaking this rule will be fined $20 the first time. And then he continued, anybody caught breaking this rule the second time will be fined $60. And anyone caught the third time will be fined $180 if you're in the dormitory or whatever of the other. Wow. Yeah. And so one guy in the back raises his hand, and he says, how much for a season pass? And that was just, I don't know the answer to that, but folks, that's where you're supposed to smile. I don't think you're supposed to laugh, but that sounds like somebody would know.
Well, he's looking at me.
I should have known.
So I don't know.
Which makes it
all right.
Story time. And I had a couple of stories in mind. Often I'll, hello out. That's Murph, okay. I just wove to.
Just walk by.
I just wove to. Anyway, it's some about family and all, but this I was reading yesterday, and it's once again from this publication, Our Daily Bread little devotional thing. It's just beautiful. It's free as it can be. ourdailybread.org, and I'll send you one. And this was something I did not know about. It's actually historic. It goes back to Mexico, back around... 14. It started. This guy was born in 1402 and died in 1472. His name was Nexaquatl, Neza, Quatl, and his name is of significance. It stands for hungry coyote, but not. He was originally seriously named Coyote, but something happened in his youth. They said we're going to call him Hungry Coyote. Anyway, he was not only the emperor of ruler of Mexico that incorporated many tribes, vicious tribes before, but
he united the tribes.
He was a poet as well as a ruler, and in his writings, he wrote this. Keep this in mind, Kay. This is a civilization that have got idols everywhere. They actually offer sacrifices, human sacrifices everywhere on top of these pyramids and all, and these are the Aztecs. And he said this in his writing: truly the gods which I worship are idols of stone that do not speak nor feel. Some very powerful, hidden, and unknown God is the creator of the entire universe. He is the only one that can console me in my affliction and help me in such anguish as my heart feels. I want him to be my helper and protection. This is before the Spanish ever came there. He knew nothing. All he knew from his birth was all of these gods. This one's in control of the water, the lakes. And he comes up with this, and then he mentions this. He said, God paints things with beauty. And he wrote all of that in about what he believed was a God, a universal God, and he banned human sacrifices also.
Wow.
He died later, and I don't know what the rest of his life was like. I don't know if there was much writing about him at all. But what he left was of little significance. Montezuma came several generations. There was a Montezuma 1, and then the second Montezuma is one that really Cortez knocked the daylights out of. Anyway, so he had no lasting effect with this, but just the thought to me when I was reading this is why I thought it was an interesting story, was here's a guy, nowhere around does he have any European touch with what is considered Christianity, or in India, Hinduism, or,
right.
He predates Islam. None of this, and yet he has got this. You know, I was reading, and this sounds religious, I guess, but it's because it is, but I was reading this morning in John 6, and Jesus said, no one can come to me unless God lets you. And there's more explanation of that coming, and in reading of the Bible and all. But this guy came to God without Christ. I mean, didn't come to Christ, but God apparently touched his heart. It's the way I'm seeing it. You can say coincidence, and that's great. I think God planted in people's minds a sense of himself. Mm-hmm. And at least this one of these kings actually believed that, and as you know, has happened to many people. You think Noah, before Abraham or anything, wow, God spoke to him. Wow, why me? And also this guy Nexacotl. When you look at all the different tribes and all the different people out there, and as is wont to be us to judge one another, I know I'm sure capable of doing that and do that, and you judge other religions and all, and as I've judged the Aztec religion. But you don't know what moves people, and I think it's a spiritual sense, and I believe that spiritual sense hit Nexacotl. And that is just something I wanted to share with you out there, for better or worse. And Kay, next week we've got so many other things, and I guarantee you, whatever the many things, I've got some listed here that are very interesting, and some of them are even funnier. Maybe funnier than the joke about the bear feet.
I like that one better than the adult joke.
Anyway, and I didn't even mention anything about the skunk mixture, the skunk smell that the Israelis have managed to duplicate, and they're using it to great effectiveness. We'll talk about that next time, ladies and gentlemen, as well as many other things here on Hanging Smell with the Hayters, Mark Hayter and Kay. And folks, hit our archives and you can find us right here on www.ourlonestar.com under, afternoon talk shows. Hope you do. Right now, have a great week, and come to the poll thing tomorrow.
It's 6 o'clock. The flag ceremony.
Flag ceremony. I knew that.